Good morning. Right. I dropped the link in there for MT Live and the social media for tomorrow is dumpster diving. We do that every year, looking for beaten down stocks that might benefit from the end of year tax loss selling. They bounce up, and then going into next year, some things that have been out of favor become in favor. So we'll be reviewing that. So the jobs report looks like nobody really knows what to make out of it. It was like jobs added, but anyway, it's not so clear what's going on here other than the market is in a little bit of a correction. So the Russell, which outperformed in a huge way, is pulling back. And this retracement is a bit deep, but the week is not over yet. So when we see deep retracements like this after a breakout, initially we look at it as well, it shouldn't have done that. Well, what should it have done? Well, after consolidations and a move up, it should get further away from the breakout area so that when it pulls back, it doesn't come back to the breakout area. Now we're looking at the futures, of course. We'll look at IWM. But what they should have done was gone sideways if it was going to stall there, form a bottoming tail bar. That hasn't happened. When it tried to go up yesterday, well, in overnight trading, you have to look at where the move was. But in any event, it got rejected. And so now it's on support. We look to the left. There's buyers down there, right? Like there was before. Technical bounce. And what we do at this point is to see how far it bounces or whether it goes sideways. And an ability to bounce would suggest it's going to go lower. And if that is what is going to shape up, it could go maybe to 2,500. That's the next area down here. And you might think, as would make sense, well, what about that pivot low down there? Well, it might be a stalling point, but when a larger area like this fails, it's unlikely that the smaller one is going to work out. But we'll see what happens if it gets down there. Right now, and this is those of you in the green room that we had part of this discussion yesterday around lunchtime, was forming pivots, creating support. That's what happened overnight. It formed a pivot, retested the pivot, buyers stepped in, and now is just pushed up to this area, which is not a pivot because it doesn't have three lower highs to the left. Nonetheless, in a smaller time frame, that would be a pivot. So as traders utilizing multiple time frames, that would be a target area. If you traded this overnight and looking to move up, it would be a place to take partial profits, especially in a downward move. Now, and so as we go through this, just like the same as we would say, well, what happens at support over here? If it goes sideways, it could drop down. Well, this move down, if it goes sideways here, bullish price action or the idea of absorbing supply, right? There's resistance supply. Well, that opens up the door to a move up. So what's the takeaway here? Well, the takeaway is that prices are on a significant support area and they're on which should be a relatively insignificant resistance area. And that leaves us waiting for the next signal if we're looking at this chart to see what's going to happen as far as sideways up or all the way back down and then breaking to the low. In between here is the unknown. And looking at the daily chart, you can see the pullback for 3 days so far, a bottoming tail bar beginning to form, but you need to wait and see as far as this time frame goes, what's going to happen, meaning where does it close today? Is it a red bar closing at the low, which would then support it's going to go lower? Is it a green day, a green body closing up near the high? And tomorrow we would see, is it going to go up? So That's the essence of bar by bar analysis and a little insight into multiple time frame analysis. So we do the same thing. It doesn't matter what we're trading, but we look the same thing. So the S&Ps broke down through here, and what we're going to look at is SPY to see where that is in relation to its 65-minute chart. But the futures here are broken down, and that's really secondary as I look at it as to what's happening on the futures market, because all of this blue area, the overnight trading, is, the low volume trading, other than what happens, first thing in the morning or just before the open. So this retraced up to resistance, same as the others did, and we just wait to see how this unfolds, at the open. Now the Qs have been weaker. The Nasdaq, as some damage is being inflicted. You can see over here, artificial intelligence, coming down pretty steeply. Different stocks getting smacked around as the AI bubble seems to be unfolding, where these companies spend gobs of money, and now how are they going to monetize that? And we'll see which ones hold up going into the future or don't. As with any evolutionary type of situation, things change. There are going to be those that, and it just reminds me thinking about the when marijuana started to become somewhat legalized and everybody flocked there. The stocks went up. It was great. They went up, I don't even know how much percent, but went through the roof. And now maybe they're bottoming out 3 years later, but they've gotten killed. So the same thing happens across different industries. And in this one, there are ones that are going to go out of business too. But hey, there's money there to be had. People are going to go there and see if they can grab some of it. All right, so futures, same bounce overnight. There's your pivot and a little lower high and a bounce up to resistance, and same situation. We'll see how this shapes up. The Dow has been doing much better. So when we looked at the Russell and we saw it came all the way down here, I think the Dow is showing relative strength, and it's staying pretty much in the middle of the wide range bar, breaking out to new all-time highs. So this is doing essentially what it should do after a move like that. What's the saying? And fun fact, December 2025, first time in history that an ounce of silver costs more than a barrel of crude oil. That is an interesting fact. Thank you for sharing. So now, again, bar by bar analysis. Does it close like this? Is it a green body? Is it a red at the end of the day? You look at the resistance here, and this poked a little bit above that overnight trading there. So does it go sideways, which would lead to some movement to the upside? So regardless of where we're looking, we kind of get stuck back to, hey, some are acting better than others, some are worse, but they're all intraday trading somewhat similarly and in the middle of the action to see which way they're going to go. Just quickly look at ETFs and go here and look at the day chart. And so we see there was the breakdown in the Qs and lower. And they tried to move up yesterday, knocked back down, and it was like 4 hours plus of going nowhere. And so unless it can retrace back up here, we would have a bias that it's going to go lower. And there's that unfilled gap, which really wasn't touched. It came into it and it held there. And so the next support would be where these overlapping bars are, these overlapping opens and closes, some support. So somewhere in here would be a downside target area to see if it's going to go there. So then we go back to see, let's get some insight into the overnight trading and see where it is. And it's essentially, it was a bit lower down into that area that I just pointed to, give or take. You can see the cursor on the 65-minute chart in the overnight trading. and it bounced up, but relatively weak bounce for the moment. Spiders holding up a little bit better and holding for the moment. What did I pick there? Hold on. Pick the right thing. Horizontal line. And you see the support area, and then there's an unfilled gap down here. I think we mentioned that yesterday to be aware of that. Will it hold? Well, who knows? What we have here is an inability, right there. There was the big down bar, an inability to get back up yesterday. So that was bearish. And so 682 is about the top of that range, give or take. And it's below that. So somewhat neutral, but the potential to break through the bottom, that's still intact. And prices are just whipping back and forth here a little bit. So whipping, you see more a little the whip going to the 5-minute chart as to and you see the attempt to move up and knock back down again. So everybody's kind of waiting to see what happens at the open. That's the way I interpret it for now. All right, let me check SPX, see if things move from where they were earlier. And so nothing got touched yesterday, not the extremes anyway. And so they moved up a little bit from where they were before we started talking here, because it was at 66.90 and now it's at 67.05. So that little bounce come up a little bit from yesterday, and 68.70. That came down a little bit. So getting a little tighter. So is it coming down to 6,700 today? No. No. Some other news would have to come out. And right now, the markets are just trying to figure out between flat retail sales at holiday time. That's not a good sign. And this unemployment data, you know, what's going on here? Well, take a look at the bond market. And there was an initial move up, right? And yields go down as that went up. And now that got rejected back down again. So if bond prices are going to fall, yields go up, that's not a good thing. Right? And we discussed this, yields going up, they break out above here, start moving up to that level. Inflation, well, no retail sales, well, unemployment, more jobs, but confusing. And, or is there actually growth happening? That's one of the other reasons why interest rates go up, demand for money. So you want to see bond markets confused right now too. And, what's the Fed going to do? And we look at our 13-week. And, that's already moved a whole heck of a lot. For me, that means, hey, it's already baked in. They don't know what to do either. And so no matter what we look at, we kind of come back to let's see what the next 5 minutes, hour, day brings to see where we're going. All right, Bitcoin broke down yesterday. Not too severely, but down to the next pivot level. And so far, it's holding. ETH holding up there a little bit, but breakout failure, downtrend so far going nowhere. Looks like it might be able to come down here where we would look to see how it stabilizes to see if we get these moving up. All right. Gold and silver. Gold came in a bunch yesterday. Got a little topping tail, but look at the closes day to day. Those days, the closes are about the same, bouncing up here. Trend is up, should continue to go higher. Silver looks very good. And this is what it's supposed to do, meaning not this particularly, but when you see whether it's IWM, Apple, which got nasty yesterday, that little buy setup there fell apart. And but when you get a momentum move like that, it's supposed to, well, not it, buyers are supposed to show up and create new support areas. And so this is still quite bullish, and the pattern suggests it's going to go higher. Lastly, you'll take a look at crude oil, and you can see that is breaking lower. So energy prices going down, that backs off the inflation theme. And energy, oil's used for so many things, right? Price at the pumps go down. So that's a plus. Yet interest rates look like they're going to go up. So different markets doing different things. As I mentioned, right now, I think most institutions, probably the Fed, whoever, are confused as to what the next step is. And as we go into the holidays, look, prices pull back a bit more. And I think buyers show back up again. And so day to day, as I said, we'll see if this comes down another day. The further it comes down into this area, the greater the potential that buyers are going to want to show up again. To you, Dan.
Morning. Leading some alarms here. Our opens are doing fantastic. Longs and shorts. We had HIG, we sold right into the close yesterday. Look at that move. We had a couple like that. Hilton. Look at that move. Right from a very simple buy setup. We always talk about the turn. And folks in the green room know I say this all the time. When I'm looking for a turn, one of my favorite turns is exactly this. They hear me saying, I want it to blip down and come right back. Bottoming tail. That was our tail. So we sold that. We got into Amgen yesterday, but just as a put spread. But there's our turn. And this bottoming tail, same thing. See? Took out those lows, snap right back, inside day, price void. Could have been a swing also. Target 20 looks good. But we put on a lot of shorts here, and there, look, I got them right. So there's Amgen, Carvana. We got a call spread, Flymo, D-Dog, we're short, we're in trail mode. Amba, short, most up break even. GitLab, short. I sent out an alarm on FYI, people in the green room, because we're not posting alerts in here anymore. But we covered half pre-market, right about here. That's look at that. That's a beautiful game. I'm sorry, 37. But that's a beautiful game from a sell setup. So cover half. AMD was short. Tried doing a call spread, didn't get filled. Iran breakdown, nice open gain. That's a descending triangle. The lower pivot high is right there at the 20, broke support. Closing breakdown on Friday. Mike Papa, same breakdown. We're in trail mode, looks great. PGY breakdown, we're short. Bear sign, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're short. Actually, I don't like that bottoming tail actually, but we're in management mode. Spiders, we got call spread, alarm went off, gapping down. Microsoft, I tighten the stop, we got a call spread. Let's just move it over 475-ish. Protect our gains. So that looks like all the alarms. Yeah, all our opens are in good shape. There's only one or two earnings here. Gap into 114. It is a buy setup. It's not a quality one, but the way it came down, it's don't expect a new high. Navin recent IPO. I actually sold the 12.5 puts. I should have an open gain at the open, provided it's not too spready. Look in here. That's it. Earnings. This just go to our miscellaneous watch list here. There, NVS. Alex mentioned yesterday. Novartis, an ADR, but nice closing breakout. Last Wednesday, MT Live. We talked about breakouts. I mean, but for it being an ADR, that's just too gappy. But that's a nice closing breakout. And Pfizer was Pfizer. This would be a great 1, 2, 3. It's whipping around here pre-market because they pre-announced. But look at weekly, monthly. They're all in bullish alignment. And another drug stock. It's gapping down. But this is an inverse head and shoulder. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, neckline. Boyd to 54, but it's gapping down. I'm going to set an alarm at 50-40 because then it has to recover or else I have no interest. Golf Tango, 1, 2, 3, 4. We bought all options yesterday and it looks great. Let me reset my alarm. 906, 880. Campbell Soup. It's a bear 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll set an alarm 2825. TT. Ideally, we get one or two more inside bars. But then I like it. I'll set an alarm for now at 393. Amgen, we talked about. eBay's been a dog. I mean, this was an attempt to break out. Well, it was a closing breakout, and boom. So, we actually have a put spread on that. All right, shoot, I just noticed the gap down. Let's move stop 5-minute low. One second, I gotta send a telegram. Clients. My bad. It stopped out yesterday. Yeah, it stopped yesterday. Okay, I thought the stop was under 80, but the stop was 80.18. So I'll close that out later. So I can see what the value is. We had just a $2 wide, 82. Oh, spread's good. Nuts. Spreads have been bad lately. All right, so I'm done with eBay. We went through all these, so let's go up now. Path. Path, we're watching for a reversal. We have none right now. I'll set an alarm at 16:45. But it's in a, had an igniting gap, fluid retracement. It's just coming down hard, but ideally, they'll reverse right with the 2050. Mortgage, 1, 2, 3, 4. I will set an alarm 29:22. Microsoft low alarm for our call spread. Let me set it lower now. CMCSA bottoming pattern. Hey, it's holding up. Look, Sam, was this was Sam's. Look, Sam, I like pre-market gapping over the red bar. So that could be a 5, 10, 15-minute high. I'll be watching to see if the market is stable or not. ELV is all, we talked about this yesterday. It's also a 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's at this prior high. So that one I want to go sideways a little more. There's a closing breakout, bullish weekly, monthly. I'll keep an eye on that. MSAS is holding. Well, it did sell off yesterday, but that's an amazing strong, that was a big gap. And then for it to have a range expansion, but that thing needs to go sideways for about a week. KTB, oh, here's another one that we're short. I can't tell where it's trading. FDN, it was on my list to give as a short, and I just missed it in the morning when my alarm went off, but that still looks lower. PRMB bottoming pattern looks higher. It shows it down 28 cents. OEC, that's about a nice bottoming pattern. I will set an alarm 5:33. And I already have one at 5:34. Yeah, next week, a week from tomorrow, we're going to talk about bottoming patterns. So this will be an example of that. This battery stock I'm watching. Another example. My alarm went off yesterday, but see, it got rejected. D-Dog. D-Dog. Let's cover another third 5-minute high. Next. Okay. Don't, it's not jumping out at me, Thomas. Needs to go sideways more. McDonald's up alarm. We only gave 2 longs yesterday. And this was one of them. I love when both directions of your trades work. That means you are a good picker. Low. Yeah, 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 like, yeah, maybe 30-minute high. I'll put it in a window. Yeah, market's just swapping around here. I'm not reading into anything right now. PRMB. Yeah, yeah, it's top of the range, but yeah, another bottoming pattern. Oh, NAV, that's the one I had to put spread. There it shows I got a nice open game. Let's see if I can get filled. Yeah, spreads are nuts. So one. Hit 15. Alex, you're well. Nice from yesterday. Nice 15-minute chart for continuation. You can buy a 5-minute high on that for day trade. Stop low. That looks really good. Amgen at the high. I just had a Pfizer alarm go off. I did a put spread yesterday myself. The 20, I did a $1 wide, 26. I wonder if the market knew they were going to pre-release, because even though it's down, I got an open profit. Huh. Our D-Dog doing well. I see GitLab rallying, but we sweet nice. We covered half pre-market, so just let it play out. Your LOW looking great. The matter of aggressiveness. If you want to buy some 5-minute high, I prefer 30-minute highs, just so you don't get caught up in the morning jiggles. Sky, we're watching. I got an alarm up here somewhere, but that broke out and it's going sideways. So it's doing exactly what we want it to do. Neog, yeah, yeah. But hey, bottoming pattern on the weekly. Let me check spiders. Oh, Neog. Neog, there's no good strike and they're spready as can be. Let me check our spider. We got the 690. Man, I can't believe the spiders are at 690. Man, this market's been on a tear. Spiders, so we can move stuff. How about over this little hump? Humpty Dump. 683.12. Well, Q's getting some legs here. Meta's the only thing I see moving though. Mm, if spiders were to close right here, but for the 20 and the 50, it just looks like a bear 1, 2, 3 at the bottom wants to fall out. All right, see how low's coming in here. So see, that's why, it was two things. Waiting 30 minutes and letting the market simmer down. The spiders look horrible though in the 15-minute chart and hourly. They had big old void. Diamonds have a void on the hourly. So, careful longs. Brothers. Man, not ready. I want a closing breakout before I touch that thing. Dino. Yeah, yeah, that looks good. You know, the trades, I don't, the overlapping bars give me a headache. But